Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Watching the Boxes Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Catron, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Tyler Watts. What's up, Tyler?
Well, you can't say as always, Mike, because you did a mock draft over the weekend, and I was not part of that, so it's not as always anymore.
Are you salty that I didn't invite you to tell me I made a bunch of terrible picks in my mock draft?
No, I wasn't salty. I'm just saying the last episode I wasn't part of, so you can't say as always anymore because you did one by yourself.
For the first time in 2 episodes, joining me is my co-host, Tyler Watts.
No, I thought your mock draft went all right. I was not going to slag off your mock draft one bit.
I was a bit bored in the afternoon, so I figured I'd put a mock draft on record, and hopefully people got some value out of that. So go check that out. It's just a quick 10-team head-to-head mock draft. I ended up getting Karl Anthony Towns with the 7th pick,
which surprised me kind of, but I guess not. I mean, it doesn't seem like Karl Anthony Towns should be the 7th pick, but then when you look at it, it's like, well, I can see that.
Someone's going to fall to the 7th pick, and I think you'd be surprised. Like every once in a while, something like Giannis, Steph Curry.
I think Curry's the guy I see most often on ESPN doing it. It's like you're sitting there at 7 and Steph Curry pops into your lap and you're going, must be my lucky day.
People are sleeping on Curry this year. It's
I cannot wait for who to draft with Steph Curry so I can give you my in-depth analysis on it. That is one show I am looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. But this show, we're going to be doing who to draft with Steph Curry's highly touted teammate and MVP of the NBA, Kevin Durant. Well, no, I guess he's the MVP of the finals of the NBA last year because that would be Westbrook, who was the MVP of the NBA last year. I'm already getting slow in my old age trying to remember what happened last year.
I feel like that's just what happens, right? You just forget it all and just get too excited for what's about to come up.
I'm excited. There's actually been at real basketball to view and to watch and to actually see real basketball. You forget that, why am I paying attention in any of these other sports when real basketball is just so much better?
Except for when the fourth quarter comes. I sometimes have to avert my eyes in these preseason fourth quarters early on with literally some guys I'm not sure if they're real people or not. They might just be made up names out there.
There's a lot of NBA 2K my players playing in the fourth quarter out there. I don't know how they got into real life, but it definitely happens. So yeah, let's real quick go through what we've seen in the preseason. But first off, there was an announcement about the preseason with Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard doesn't sound like he's going to play any of the preseason games. Are you worried about that? What's your take on that real quick?
The original announcement I wasn't worried about, and then I caught a tweet from a beat writer, and you have to excuse me because I don't remember which beat writer it was, but I'm sure there's not that many of them in San Antonio. You could probably look this up for yourself. That said that when he asked Pop said this was an injury from last season that never quite fully healed, basically.
Ooh.
And it was still keeping him out. I wasn't too worried till I heard that. And then I thought, what now? That's been like a lot of months.
So I think Kawhi was already being picked at the bottom of that top 8. I think this almost solidifies him being picked at the bottom of that top 8. Is he slipping to below our consensus top 8?
Not yet. But as draft season gets a little bit closer, and I think no news is probably bad news in this situation, in the sense that if they're not saying, oh, he's getting better, oh, we're seeing him on the practice court, I think that's probably bad news. And man, if he's not ready in like a week where he's actually practicing, then I could see him maybe starting to slip down below guys like Chris Paul and those types.
Yeah, I think I'm still taking him at an 8 because I think he's going to have a MVP caliber season. And all the news reports, like you've been saying, they're saying preseason not one has said we'll miss the opening night. Now, if a news comes out that he's going to miss opening night, maybe I take him in the top 10. Maybe I take Jokic over him, perhaps.
But drinking the Kool-Aid, Mike. Again with the Kool-Aid, man.
Jokic is going to be good. In Roto Leagues, Jokic is going to be very good. But You could probably make an argument about taking LeBron over him in a head-to-head league because LeBron's going to have a heavy workload per usual. And a lot of people always say he's going to sit out a lot. Well, I doubt it. LeBron's just going to do what LeBron does every year. I could see that happening, but if he's going to miss like the first week of the season, I don't care. I'm still taking him number 8.
I'm with you, but and I guess my worry is that if it didn't heal in, I mean, how many months since they played in the playoffs? 6?
It's been a while. Almost 6.
Like when does it heal up? That's what kind of worries me, I guess. Plus, I don't really feel like they're feeling pressured. I mean, I think they know they're going to be a playoff team, and what do they care as long as they're not playing the Warriors in the first round? I think they can beat everybody else. So as long as they're not the 4th or 5th seed or the 8th seed, I don't think they care what seed they are in the playoffs. So if he's not fully healthy, they might just say, sit out a few.
Yeah, it's a little suspect at this point, but right now I'm not terribly worried about it. But pay attention. In other injury news, Joel Embiid is actually being back in contact, 5-on-5 practice, and it sounds like he's going to make the opening night. Are you switching your tone? The last time we talked about Joel Embiid, you were way out on Joel. You're going to let someone else take that burden, and you were saying he's going to play like 38 games. I think was your over under.
My over under the whole time has been 50. And I'm still shooting for under because I mean he's 31 has been the number in 3 seasons, 31 games. That's it. So, I mean, I think 50 is fair in the sense that he's never played it. I'm still not in on Joel Embiid, and here's why. Okay, yeah, he's playing 5-on-4. You said he's good for opening night. Well, unless he's going to sit out all the preseason and practice, he could easily hurt himself before opening night. This guy's never been too healthy for too long. That doesn't mean that he will, but I still, unless I see him play more than 50 games, my over-under is going to stay at 50 games for the indeterminate amount of time until he plays it.
I think the news that he was not going to start the regular season scared a lot of people off, and then you started seeing Embiid dropping into even like the bottom of the 3rd round, beginning of the 4th round. The fact that he's going to be starting the season is probably going to move him back up to the top of the 3rd round, and I'd take him in the middle of the 3rd round or late 3rd round.
In a roto league, I'd be more inclined to do that in the sense that he literally could be for his however many games, and that's what we don't know. He could be the best per game player in fantasy.
Absolutely. And it definitely could happen, but he could also play 12 games.
Well, and in head-to-head league too, right? Those playoffs become important if you really want to win the league. So if he's not going to play at the end, right, after he's logged a lot of games.
When Philly mysteriously is not making the playoffs, though in the East, really, every other team other than the Bulls can make the playoffs.
Well, that's what I mean, and maybe they're in it, and maybe he's playing, and maybe he's healthy, and maybe he misses 20 games in the middle of the season, which, I mean, ideally that's what you'd want, right? If you were in a head-to-head league and I said the caveat is Joel Embiid misses 20 games, you'd want that somewhere in the middle of the season so you could have him for your playoffs as long as you made the playoffs. I'm just not too sure about Joel Embiid. I definitely don't want Joel Embiid unless I want to have 3 players on my team before I'm picking Joel Embiid.
I think that's fair. I would venture taking him in the 3rd round in a roto league if just depending on what I've ate earlier that day, like what I had for lunch, if I was in the mood for it. But I'm probably shying. I'm usually a little bit more risk adverse as well, and I'd probably just be letting someone else take that. And if he drops to the 4th round, I'm in. So, anything else in the preseason? I mean, it's only been a handful of games. There has hardly been anything super relevant to talk about. But anything that sticks out?
I have my eye on that Lakers game against the Wolves. I wanted to see how the Wolves were looking, how the Lakers were looking. It was weird that we only saw Jimmy Butler for like 12 minutes.
That doesn't bother me.
It didn't bother me at all, but it was just weird because I kind of wanted to see what the rotations looked like a little more than what I saw, and I didn't really get to see that. The 2 things that didn't surprise me but probably surprised some people were Brandon Ingram got a ton of shots, and he still can't shoot. And big surprise, Lonzo Ball can't shoot either.
Yeah, we've been saying Lonzo Ball's not going to be able to shoot, but he is going to be able to dish some assists.
And I said this to you before. I think he's the crap Ricky Rubio, in the sense that I think he's not going to score a ton and he's not going to shoot very well, but he's going to get assists. But I don't think he's going to be able to get Rubio's elite steals, which is going to push him well below where his current draft value is. So I am also out in the 1-year leagues on Mr. Lonzo Ball. And I don't even know that I'm willing to take Brandon Ingram as a last round flyer, I guess. But anything above that, I just don't think. I think he's going to shoot like 40% and just miss a ton of shots and generally not do too much for fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I do like his upside in assists. Now I'm kind of leaning towards I don't know how great he's going to be, but his shot's going to be suspect all year long, and we've always been kind of worried about that. But his assists, I think, are going to be. I'm not worried about that anymore. I think he could be 7-8 assists a game, and they're going to let him play. They're going to let him do whatever he wants. So that's something to continue to watch. Milo Teodosic had a pretty interesting showing. I think everybody finally saw the things that people who had done a little bit of homework already knew, is that he was going to be an amazing passer, and he was setting people up left and right. He is a great late round flyer for assists, but I think the fact that he's under the radar is going to just a couple more games of that, and that's going to end pretty soon.
I mean, I told you this when we talked about Clippers preview. I think top 5 passer in the NBA, probably the second he stepped on the NBA court. Dude is good, got a good handle, pretty with the ball. Doesn't play like a defense. But yeah, if you need assists, he's great. I could see him getting like 7 a game. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, easy.
In like 28 minutes.
Yeah, in the minutes he's going to play, which I think somewhere like 26, 28, I could see him averaging like 7 a game, which is game-changing, right? I mean, for that late in the draft as he's going right now, he's definitely worth the pick.
Yeah, I'm down with taking him late in the draft. He's going to be sneaking up in your drafts pretty soon. Same with your boy John Collins.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. I don't think he looked great. He got a lot of rebounds, which was nice. He's just a real high energy player, and I think he's going to get points and rebounds. But I don't know what else he's going to do really. But if he's going to get minutes, he's worth it. I'm not sure that he's going to at the beginning of the season, but eventually I think he will. He's more of a guy I'm picking up probably as the calendar turns to 2018. I'm looking at him hard, and as soon as he gets the bigger role, I'm jumping on board.
Yeah, I think the problem here is a lot of people will only see the stat line or the tweet, 15 boards in 20 minutes or whatever, and they're going to latch on to that. And it only takes one good preseason game for people to get on the hype train. And I kind of want to give a caveat about preseason. Jimmy Butler played 12 minutes. When it comes to the top 50 guys, I don't care if they look bad in preseason, because I think the top 50 guys are going to be good no matter what. Maybe top 40, but I'm not too worried if I see a couple duds from someone like Jimmy Butler, or if I see a couple great games from someone like Paul Millsap. That doesn't really change my opinion on them, because they're not really playing at high-end NBA speed in the preseason. What I am interested in is seeing flashes from guys below the top 50 and rotation players, where they're playing, how they're playing, or if I'm seeing someone like Chris Dunn all of a sudden looking really great for the Bulls, like, okay, maybe he is worth a late round flyer over somebody else. Along with, guys who like if you see Danilo Gallinari really, really struggling, should I be worried about that guy? But preseason explosions and slumps often have almost zero correlation with the regular season.
I'm with you. What I wanted to see really with Minnesota was who was kind of that lead ball handler. And was it Teague or was it Butler? I think Teague had the ball in his hands quite a bit, even when Butler was out there, which I like to see. I'm not really worried about Teague this year. We've talked about this a lot. There's definitely a ton of players I'm worried about, way more than Jeff Teague. I think Jeff Teague's going to do Jeff Teague things. I'm not sure he's going to be quite as good as he was last year. He had a really good season, but I think he's pretty safe for like 6.5 assists, and as usual, 13 or 14, 15 points.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of people jump off of Jeff Teague, and I think too many people have jumped off, and now he's being a little bit undervalued. And we've talked about that before. Like that team's going to move the ball around. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting team to watch. I'm going to enjoy watching it. Jeff Teague's currently being drafted 46th overall on Yahoo. That's actually a little higher than I thought he was being drafted. If you're in a smarter league, you might be being drafted later. And I think if you get him after the top 50, top 60 even, you could be getting a steal there. Excuse me. You still there? Tyler.
Sorry about that.
No, man, everything cool?
Yeah, no, there was a slight dog fracas out there.
There's a dogfight.
Yeah, I had to break up.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I was like, either something legitimately happened.
Yeah, so like they all started barking like crazy, and so I wasn't like I muted it, and then like I realized they were like probably actually fighting, and I was like,
Like,
oh
oh,
shit.
I probably need to do something here.
Yeah, so I had to get in the middle of that. So that was an adventure to say the least.
No worries. I'm glad no one was murdered or whatever.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're just a pain. They were fighting over something they pulled off the counter they wanted to eat.
Brilliant. Cool. So I think we were actually in a fairly decent spot to stop. So I'm just gonna do like just a pause, and then I'll go into Kevin Durant.
Oldie doldie.
All right. Well, I think that's enough about the preseason. We'll be covering the preseason a little bit more as the games actually get rolling along. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, and let's talk about our ongoing segment of the top 8. Who do I draft? And this time it is with my consensus number 1 overall pick, Kevin Durant.
Who would want Kevin Durant now? Come on, that's just crazy talk.
Who wouldn't want one of the best all-around fantasy players that you can possibly draft, who doesn't really hurt you anywhere, but in fact helps you almost everywhere? It gets the one thing he's weak in is steals, I guess, for his position, and he's still getting over a steal a game. I just think you can take Kevin Durant, and I can understand people in head-to-head leagues who want to go with someone like James Harden or Westbrook or Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns. I get it. All these guys have reasons you would pick them, right? Kevin Durant, to me, if I'm picking in the middle of this top 8 and Kevin Durant's sitting there, I'm 100% taking him, simply because I can go in any single direction I want to, which, at sometimes can lead you to picking a bunch of guys who are good at everything, but you really got to, like, in the second and third rounds, decide to go in a direction instead of just keep picking guys who are similar to Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yahoo is going second. ESPN is going fourth. CBS is going fifth. So you want to be in a CBS league, Mike? Join all the CBS leagues you can find.
I will never join a CBS league. They got to trash, just trashing CBS. I'll join any league on anyone who will sponsor this podcast. And if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, feel free to email us at watchtheboxes@gmail.com, and we would love to have you as a sponsor for this great NBA demographic. So let's just go ahead and let's draft Kevin Durant, and let's draft him at the number 1 pick, just like I want to.
All right, let's do it.
I like that idea. I like taking him number 1 overall, and like I said, he is not weak in anything. So let's go. Let's say we're playing in a 12-team league. Let's make this difficult on ourselves.
All right, I am in 12-team league.
12-team league, head-to-head. We take Kevin Durant, number 1 overall. Or do you want to do Roto? I don't really care. We haven't done a Roto
head-to-head. We could do Roto if that's what we want to do. It doesn't really make a huge difference with a guy like Kevin Durant. I mean, I think you're setting yourself up great for Roto. But yeah, we can do Roto, whatever you want to do, man. I am game.
Maybe let's just mention Roto, but let's stick with our head-to-head format. So coming around, we'll be taking the 24th and 25th pick. I like picking on the turns. Sure, there's going to be a giant gap of 23 picks that you don't get a pick, right? So that every time you pick, so that kind of sucks. But it's just kind of easier to plan for 2 picks every once in a while than a pick, every 12 picks. If that makes sense.
I'm definitely with you that it's a lot harder to figure out who's going to be available at your pick when you're picking in that middle range. Whereas at the turns, I mean, you basically know, okay, I'm not getting a shot at Kyrie Irving. I'm not getting Boogie Cousins. I'm not getting Jokic. I'm not getting Chris Paul. All those guys are definitely going to be gone by the time I pick at 24.
Yeah, you're really not getting any of those second tier players, and even the third tier players are going to be slim to none, I think, here. If you go to Yahoo, though, Miles Turner, Klay Thompson, CJ McCollum, and Gordon Hayward, Bradley Beal, Marcus Sol. These are the type of guys you're seeing available after 24. And that's still a fairly good snatch of players. I think, like we've said before, someone like Jimmy Butler falls to you here, you got to take him. But it looks like you're going to be picking from maybe that fourth tier.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we kind of got to decide what we need here, right? We got 2 picks right back to back, so we're going to get 2 guys out of this group. And, I mean, we can have any 2 we want, basically. So,
I think you got to go best available. And you got to, and like I said, you got to pick direction. So the guards are all pretty much gone. So if you wanted a point guard right here, right, you would be looking at someone like Eric Bledsoe, perhaps Mike Conley if he's around, and Kemba Walker. And those 3 guys don't excite me a ton.
Yeah, I'm probably passing on that little run there.
So you could go wing and get another complimentary player to Kevin Durant, but I feel like you're almost like piling on too many of the similar players already. You could take wing with your second pick. I think I'm going to have to. One of our favorite picks in this position is Miles Turner. I don't know why we would venture away from Miles Turner, considering his percentages.
That's definitely one of the men I would want in this pick. It's definitely Miles Turner. A lot of names here that, it gets kind of a little bit murky. Maybe Kyle Lowry falls to you. He's 23rd on Yahoo. 25th average draft position if you look at Fantasy Pros, which averages basically CBS, Yahoo, and ESPN. So maybe he's available, and you could go at that point guard, which I definitely have Lowry a step ahead of Conley and Bledsoe and Kemba Walker. I think, though, that I may go back to the well and go for 2 Warriors with Klay Thompson. Just feel a little bit better about him than Bradley Beal. I feel a little bit better about him than most of the other guards. And I think just everybody else just feels like a little bit of a reach at that point.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward feels like a little bit of a reach. Though, if you wanted him, why not?
What's crazy to me is he was like ranked in the 30s last year if you look at total season value, and now he's getting drafted in the 20s going to Boston, where he's probably going to see less of the ball a little bit with Kyrie kind of manhandling. I think his stats are going to be pretty similar, but I don't see why we think he's going to take a step forward. I still kind of have him right in that general 30 range.
He's 100% being overdraft here, and I think that's pretty apparent. I do, and this is definitely similar to another build that I think we did earlier in our who to drafts. But these are the guys who I think we have the most value here. When you look at someone like Klay Thompson, when you look at someone like Miles Turner, they have an elite stat like blocks and 3-pointers, and they don't hurt you in your field goal or free throw. And with someone who's so strong at those percentages, like Kevin Durant is, I would never suggest going Hassan Whiteside or going after someone who would just destroy you in one of the percentages.
And here comes the next kind of interesting thing is this category we're now punting assists?
I think it has to be if you're not going to go with a guard here. I want to throw a wrench in this. What about a third warrior? There doesn't seem to be a really good way to match up with to get Draymond Green on your team. But if there's ever a complement to 2 players who would complement each other very well, I feel like it would be Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. Everything that Draymond's bad at, Kevin Durant is really good at.
Yeah, you could see that option. He's going 20th on Yahoo, 22nd on ESPN, 24th on CBS, so his average draft position is 22. But you could see him slip a little bit No points, which you don't love that, but I mean, if you get 2 20-point scores, matched around him, you can make that work. I love Draymond. I actually have him a lot higher than 20th, so I'm kind of surprised that he lasts that long.
Yeah, he's good. I think if you purposely go after someone who's going to be scoring a ton next year, like perhaps Anthony Davis or a Westbrook or Harden, that makes a ton of sense. But that 10 points, 12 points a game that he might score next year is really rough. But 8-7, he might be a really good matchup with LeBron. Two guys who would be having 8 rebounds and 8 assists a game. That might be the guy when we do our end of draft. Who do you draft kind of thing? LeBron and Draymond.
I love that pairing. That's really interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people avoid Draymond because of the scoring, but there's got to be a way to get him situated on your team. It's just so hard for where he's actually going, where he's being drafted at like 21, 20, 22, like you're saying. That really facilitates you getting. I mean, you're basically forced to take your second round pick and take Draymond for sure.
Yeah, and it's a gamble, right? Because I've been saying this for weeks that the 20-point scores dry up fast, so it's a gamble, and maybe the best scenario is you punt points with Draymond. But I think you can definitely make it work with someone like LeBron or Kevin Durant or one of these other guys who's going to score a ton.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for this particular build, we're a little bit later in the draft for Draymond. He could maybe fall to us at 24. But let's stick with our Miles Turner, I think. I think we both like that as getting a center with an elite block. And let's see. I think you like Klay Thompson here.
I just feel like if we get Klay, that kind of bumps us up in 3-pointers and points enough to where I feel really good about those categories. I feel really good about blocks. I feel all right about steals. We got 3 guys that are going to average pretty close to 1. We're going to need a little work on that category. And then we're probably sitting pretty in and rebounds. Our only really bad category is probably assists. And to have that kind of build early on is great because you can take it in a lot of different directions. If we get a big assist guy in the next one, we're not looking terrible in that.
Yeah, I'm on board with what you're thinking. I'm almost curious of the trying, something just a little bit different. And I think this would facilitate us punt. It looks like we'd punt 3. So it feels like right here we're really finding out in the second, third rounds. That's where you're going to get your 3-point guys. And if you don't get those, you're probably going to punt 3-pointers. You either got your 3-point guy in the first round and second round. And if you missed out on those and you're looking for 3s, you have to take someone like Klay or Bradley Beal in the third round, or else you're not going to get a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, if you go for someone like DeMar DeRozan who's getting picked in this range, like you are punting 3-pointers. You got to.
And I'm actually considering with Kevin Durant, he hits 2 a game, so like I don't think I want to punt 3-pointers because he's so good at 3-pointers from a forward spot. But I was going to go out on a limb and suggest someone like Marc Gasol and go big, because there's a lot of pretty good valued 2 guards, wings, and a couple point guards later in the draft.
I don't think with Marc Gasol you're even punting 3-pointers. Marc Gasol hit over 1 3-pointer a game last year, which I know that doesn't mean as much as it did, but it's still a 3-pointer a game. You got Durant's 2 to maybe 2.5.
Yeah, I think you're onto something here. Like Marc Gasol or even Brook Lopez. I mean that's a reach. I guess if you're going to talk about those guys, you're going to have to talk about Kevin Love too. Like, would it be crazy to go big here and just be done with our bigs this early? Because the bigs dry up pretty quickly.
The bigs do dry up pretty quickly. I'm all right with that. I'd like the Gasol to be the Gasol of last year, not Gasol of previously, where he's like closer to 17 points. Last year he was closer to 20, I think like 19 and a half. If you could promise me that, Gasol, I'd definitely be in at this spot.
I'll promise you that Marcus Gasol is going to keep shooting threes. Whether he gets up to 20, 19 points a game, he's got to hit those threes. I think that's the difference.
And
but
so,
that team needs someone to be a primary scorer, and him and Connolly they're it.
Yeah, and they decided to start Wayne Selden in their first preseason game. I thought maybe Tyreek Evans, who would finally get healthy and do something, but that doesn't look promising now. So I'm in on Gasol. I actually drafted Gasol in the league that actually is going to count just last week. So
let's go in a little bit of a different route, and let's go the ever versatile Marcus Gasol, who a lot of people I think maybe are like, oh, you guys are really reaching it. 20, you're going to take Marcus Gasol at 25.
And here's why I don't see it as a reach. Okay, if you slide over to #basketball.com and check out our friend and the great Mark Roberts projections, if you're looking at 8 category rankings, Mr. Marc Gasol comes out 26th rank, and that's only at 17.2 points a game and only 4 assists. And I think he could maybe beat both.
And I said we were going to avoid making a roto team, but this is a hell of a roto team right now.
This is right up your alley, right up your roto alley.
Yeah, if you're doing roto, I mean, like this might be what you're looking for. These guys have great percentages, and even though Marcus Gasol's percentage kind of dropped off because he started shooting threes, it's not you're not going to struggle because you got Marcus Gasol shooting 15, 16 shots a game at like 46%. That's perfectly fine because KD is absurdly efficient, and I assume he'll be absurdly efficient again this year. And then you got Miles Turner here,
who could take a few more shots and take a dip in assists in efficiency. But I mean, how far is he really going to drop? Like 48%?
Yeah, is he going to drop it to 49? No, it's not going to happen. So you're great at right now. We're killing everybody in rebounds. We got good blocks. We're really not even that bad at threes. You're absolutely right about that. What we are struggling with, if going this route, is going to be. We are low, probably lowest on steals, and we are low on assists.
I mean, 3 guys getting a steal a game, though, or I don't even know that we're that low.
We're not punting steals right now at all.
That's what I mean. And we're not really that low in assists when we look at the fact that we don't have a point guard. I mean, if we get 4 assists out of Gasol and
5 out of Durant,
that's what I mean. We basically got.
I'm loving this build.
I mean, KD is going to get as many assists as Kemba Walker, probably pretty close.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't think we're really that bad in that category now. Obviously, we would need a point guard if we don't get a point guard in the next turn, we're obviously going to.
And I think that's where it gets a little bit dangerous. So let's do it. Let's go with. We got our bigs. We're feeling good. We got Miles Turner. We got Marcus Gasol.
You want to slag CBS off one more time? I'll give you the perfect reason to slag off CBS.
Please do.
Average draft position of 27. The one, the only Lonzo Ball on CBS.
Oh my gosh! Like I said, CBS Sports, the home of people who are playing fantasy football and occasionally doing a basketball draft.
I have played a ton of fantasy basketball leagues in my life. I have never played one on CBS, unfortunately.
I feel like I've done one there, and it was like years ago, and we never went back. Never went back. We did one season, and everybody hated it. And like their user interface is probably better sometime in the last like 7 years. I mean, it was a long time ago, but man, no thanks.
All right, so 48 we go.
Wow, and so that's a lot of players off the board, a lot of guards off the board that we were probably looking at, hoping that they would drop to us. This could be the thing that the reason why you maybe don't go this direction, but I think we're going to be able to figure something out here.
All right, so let's see who's available. Who is available at 48? I can already tell you one guy I'm very interested in, but I will let you take the lead on this.
So I'm looking at Yahoo's average draft rankings right now. We are definitely looking at guards at this point because we are set in bigs. And It looks like, someone like Dennis Schroeder is available. Victor Oladipo is available. D'Angelo Russell is available. Even Drew Holiday is being picked this late. I'm not sure he will be picked this late in your draft. And dare I say, Jeff Teague? Is he available?
He has the 48th overall consensus ADP by Fantasy Pros.
Wow, that is cutting it close. That is saying that we're going to get a kind of straight up draft. But the way people have been fading Jeff Teague, I think this is possible.
Oh, I definitely think it's possible. The Jeff Teague hate has gone far too far.
I agree, and I think this is the prime time to be picking Jeff Teague. You take him with one of your picks here, 48 or 49. It doesn't matter because that is why you pick on the turn. And Jeff Teague, he comes in. He's not a bad scorer. We're not struggling in scoring. We got Kevin Durant. Turner and Gasol are not lights out plus 23 scores, so we're a little low, I guess, if you want to say that we're a little low on scoring. So we could focus on either boosting our big man stats with a wing here, going after a volume scorer to make sure our points are up, or looking for a guard. And so, because another guard to play with Jeff Teague, because Jeff Teague, he is going to be good at most things, but really he's not elite in any one category.
I'm with you there. So guys I'm interested in, Dennis Schroeder. I'm definitely interested in that. I think he's going to score a lot of points and get some assists. Maybe the two categories we're worse than. Plus, he'll probably give you a steal a game, which helps us just kind of stay steady in that category. If we're going to punt points, you could look at a guy like Nick Batum here in this general area. Batum kind of does everything else well, which would fit our build pretty well. Rubio's probably maybe still available at 55 average out position if you look at the consensus. Drew Holiday, I just can't get on board with that one.
No, I'm not getting on board with Drew Holiday.
Another guy, maybe Victor Oladipo. That's a guy we could maybe talk about.
Yeah, we could definitely. I think he's getting a lot of. He's going to be the sleeper of the year. So I think he's going to be drafted before Jeff Teague, but he could be available here, and if so, he is a breakout candidate.
This Fantasy Pros consensus ADP says 59th on Yahoo, 65th on ESPN, 53rd at CBS, so 58th overall pick. So he's actually a little bit below this.
Wow, I'm a little surprised by that. Or, I mean, that baffles me. Why do you think that is?
I just think that he burned everybody last year because he was, for the second year in a row, kind of, a lot of people pegged him as, oh, he's going to be the breakout guy this year. And then he deferred to Russ a little bit too much and didn't really put up the stats that everybody thought. The year before, it was more, he played really great down the stretch. It was, he stunk at the beginning when he was getting jerked around a little bit by coming off the bench, even though he was probably the best player on that team. So I think he's kind of hurt a lot of people 2 years in a row. And so people may be staying away from him. But I'm a big fan of him going to Indiana and kind of playing that 1A, 1B role with Miles Turner.
Do you think he is too risky considering we need a guard who can score and get steals?
I think those are the two things he probably does the best, in the sense that I think he's probably good for Mark Roberts projected 17 points this season. I think that's probably pretty safe, and a steal and a half, which both sound pretty enticing to me.
That is very intriguing. That's a tough one, I think. Let's do a quick who would you rather then. And for this build, not just in a vacuum, but for a build, we're looking for a guard or a wing. Victor Oladipo or Carmelo Anthony?
Victor Oladipo.
Victor Oladipo or probably not available Chris Middleton?
Middleton, but I don't think he's going to be available.
I agree. Victor Oladipo or D'Angelo Russell?
For this build, I'm going to say Victor Oladipo.
And is that just because you like his percentages a little bit better, or because D'Angelo's gonna? They're very similar, but D'Angelo's a bit worse when it comes to actually shooting the ball at a decent percentage.
Yeah, and I just think that they're going to be similar points and similar other stats too. Really, I think Victor Oladipo is going to give you a little more blocks. I think D'Angelo is going to give you a little more threes, but the percentages are really what sways me in the sense that I think Oladipo's are going to be enough better to matter.
I like that. And I think here's the final one, and it's going to go back to the guys you suggested: Victor Oladipo or Dennis Schroeder.
There.
You dropped out.
I thought you did.
So, Victor Oladipo or Dennis Schroeder.
You're like super choppy, so we might want to just like mess with the mic quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sent you in the chat. It wasn't too bad at like.
I'm not looking at the chat.
At 11:30, it wasn't too bad, but then like in the last like minute or two, it got
great
worse and worse. So I actually think it might have been you who dropped out because nothing on my screen went and did anything. But I'm not one. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it just didn't work. All I heard was Victor Oladipo, and that was it.
You got me?
Yeah, but you're super loud.
Hello?
That's better. Now you're back in the member of the living.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, I just wasn't looking at the chat.
That's all good. I don't care.
Too bad. I just said Dennis Schroeder or Oladipo. So I'll just do that.
All right.
And the final one, Dennis Schroeder or Victor Oladipo.
And here's where we got to make the decision.
Yep.
Okay. I think Schroeder's going to give you better points. I think Oladipo's definitely going to give you better steals. So do we want the steal and a half over the steal, or do we want the 19 points over 17 points?
And I also think Dennis Schroeder is going to give you more assists.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely going to give you a lot more assists. But I don't know that we super are worried about that category if we have Jeff Teague. There's definitely some guys down lower too. We can get to boost our assists, a Todosic type, someone like that. I think the two categories that we're most worried about right now are points and steals.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is where we want to decide whether or not we stop looking at points or we stop looking at steals. And we have guys like, so Turner, let's just go right back up. Turner is probably going to give you almost a steal a game. So we're probably weakest in steals because Marcus Sol is going to give you a little under a steal a game. And Teague is going to be right around a steal a game. So we're definitely weakest in steals. I think I'm going to have to vote for let's ignore steals. Let's go with Dennis Schroeder.
I would vote for Schroeder too, just in the sense that okay, he might shoot a bad percentage on a high volume of attempts, but we got some safety built up in that category, and just his combination of stats at this pick seems really, really enticing to me.
Yeah, I like his upside. I like him bringing our points back up, which we should be competing with when we have someone like Kevin Durant. He isn't killing our percentages, and he's going to shoot good free throws, so that's going to help our free throw percentage. That's going to be really nice, and I just like upside here. So, why not?
Oh man, on to a lot more picks that get gone. That just does not sound good to me to make the last choice, right?
Last choice is always a crapshoot. We've always said that. We're picking down at 72.
Yeah,
a lot of good players off the board. It's rough picking number one overall.
The turns are nice, but they're also kind of hectic because you're like, oh gosh, what's available, and you keep seeing all these names that you like
go off the board,
get melted away, and you're like, man, who is left?
So, what are you looking for in this piece here? We don't really have a wing other than Kevin Durant. We got two solid guards, two solid centers. we're ignoring steals. So go ahead and chalk that up. We don't care about steals at all. We like our percentages. We probably could use some more assists. We probably could use some more rebounds.
I don't know. I think we're pretty all right in assists with Schroeder and Teague.
I mean, we could use some more.
But we got two guys, and we picked Marc Gasol, so I think we're pretty all right in assists. We got Gasol, we got Durant, we got Schroeder, we got Teague. That's basically, 4 point guards worth almost right there.
So let's do what we do every time when we get to this pick. I'm going to list a couple guards, a couple forwards, and a couple centers. And at this point, because of Kevin Durant's versatility, we could go in any direction. We're actually not really looking for a very specific position just because of the way our draft went. So I'm going to give you a couple guards. Jeremy Lin. It's an interesting guard.
I have a soft spot for Mr. Lin this year.
So do I. Zach LaVine. Let's throw him in there. The injured Zach LaVine.
Definitely not for me.
Tim Hardaway Jr. We haven't talked about him before. What a hard scoff at Tim Hardaway Jr.
Man, I don't know what Tim Hardaway Jr. is anymore, other than a man who makes far too much money.
Ooh, that is a cold burn for Tim Hardaway. And I'm going to throw Gary Harris in there because he's always available around here.
I love Gary Harris.
Loving Gary Harris.
You're pulling at my heartstrings already.
Ooh, I'm going to throw George Hill in there too. Let's get them all in there. All your favorite players.
Another man I'm a fan of.
So those are your guards. Your wings, Aaron. We can reach down for Aaron Gordon, who's got a lot of upside. Let's go out on a limb and say Robert Covington is available.
And
it could be interesting.
He definitely is. What possibly is his best category is steals, though, and that's kind of what we're not focusing on. So he's probably not a great fit for our team.
Very good point. The ever underrated Thaddeus Young.
Deuce, man.
And let's go with like a high upside guy, Marquise Chris.
Playing some center now, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, he's going to be probably center eligible. With centers, so let's look at the centers. Let's say Clint Capella is available. I don't think he will be, but let's go ahead and say he's available. Jonas Valanciunas is available. Steven Adams, Enes Kanter, Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't know what to do here. I don't think it terribly matters.
There's a ton of guys, right? This is kind of where we talk about this that we don't usually talk about the rest of your picks, right? We do the top 6 because a lot of it's just your pet players. You've named a lot of my pet players that I'm taking kind of in the 7, 8, 9, however long they're available range.
Yeah.
So you kind of just pick your horse here. The guy that I'm probably going with on this team that we have here, man, I mean, there's so many different ways we can take this team. It's just so good here. I get 2, right? So, I mean, I get 2 back-to-back, so I might
let's go ahead and pick 2.
But we might as well just do it. Gary Harris, I think, is one of them.
Ooh. Gary Harris is a solid – he's not a great steal guy, but he's a solid steal guy, but he's a good percentage when it comes to field goal.
So, I mean, and I think he could take a step forward this year. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of his. So I think he's probably one of the guys I'm taking. The other one, I probably would go for Jeremy Lin. Just think he could have a good year, going to get the ball in his hands a little bit more than everybody thinks. And so, yeah, I'm kind of preferential to him. It would be George Hill if you could guarantee me George Hill would stay healthy, but I'm just worried that we've seen him break down a little bit the last couple of years, and I'm worried he goes down again. But if he's available as the next pick, I would definitely snap on him. So that's probably where I'm going.
And you went with a lot of guards. I think I'm on with all those with Gary Harris always, and Jeremy Lin. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go Jeremy Lin because I think I want some more assists. I know we're really good at assists, but I just want to be better at assists. I just want to have an even higher assist rate, and also this kind of fits. He's got great free throw, and his field goal isn't that great, and I think that fits our current mold, which it kind of makes sense in your opinion to go with Gary Harris, who's going to actually flip that and help you balance that out a little bit. But I'm going with Jeremy Lin because I think he's going to handle the ball a lot and be better than a lot of people are thinking when it comes to assists and points.
I will second.
And then so I'm going to reach down here because we're picking 73rd, but our next pick is 96. And there's a guy that I want, and I want Aaron Gordon. I think Aaron Gordon's going to be great. I like Aaron Gordon as a guy I would reach down at this point to ensure that I get. I think it's definitely a reach for sure. But when you look at what Aaron Gordon can do across the board,
I love him. I just pray they give him the minutes. Just give him the minutes, please, for the love of all things that are holy.
I'm going to, for some reason, stupidly probably, I'm going to believe in the Orlando staff well, I should never say that again, to actually properly play Aaron
And now
Gordon
we have no listeners left.
Yeah, everyone's
We
like,
just
this
have
is
no
dumb.
listeners left, so
It's not going to happen.
we might as well not talk anymore.
But yeah, I mean, I think he just complements this team. He's going to be a scorer. He's going to get rebounds. He's just going to be a good all around across the board player. And we got a lot of, when we lead with a across the board player like Kevin Durant, someone like Aaron Gordon coming in it's going to really matter. And I think you're going to get a lot of value out of him even at 72. Even though I think I'm reaching for him, it's just because I don't think I'm going to get him down in the 90s.
I would like to throw in just one tidbit about a player you mentioned, and something I don't think that should happen. And that is Thaddeus Young should not be available on your waiver wire. I've had a couple people in the last few days send me their waiver wire, even in like their 10 and 12 team leagues. And Thaddeus Young is still sitting out there. Mark Roberts.
There's a lot of just boring named people sitting on people's waiver wires.
But Mark Roberts projections, he's the 72nd best player. I mean, I just feel like this guy is always kind of criminally underrated, and I think it's happening again. He's a real good steals player, so he didn't fit this team very good. And I don't think you ever have to pick him here. I mean, in Yahoo, he's 128th and 135th on ESPN. You can literally have this guy as one of your very last players, and I think he's probably going to give you top 75 value on the season. So don't sleep on this dude. Pick him up late in your draft.
Yeah, it's baffling me to see guys like him be on a waiver wire. It just doesn't make any sense. You also see people like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist on the waiver wire. I mean, he's going to be in the top 100.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
So he's going to play a lot.
He's probably going to be in the top 100. I get him in the sense that like he doesn't score a lot of points and he doesn't shoot threes, right? So he's just like a weird player to own in today's NBA. You're like, what does this guy do? He gets rebounds and does some steals and blocks. Like he does the good things in the non-sexy categories. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's always kind of underrated too. So it's a good call.
Yeah,
you threw me off. That was like the last name I was expecting. So you threw me way off. I was not expecting you to say Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I was like, wait, what? Who? And then I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of my point. I think, and we suggest everybody go and take a shot at someone in the late draft. Like, go scowl Labossiere and be prepared to drop him. But also maybe he's gonna break out, right? But the more people who do that, at some point it becomes value to go like, hey, Mo Harkless is good. Thaddeus Young is good. Why am I ignoring guys who are going to play 30-some minutes a game?
Well, and just the guys that are obviously top 75, top 100 players. You know what I mean? I just think that those are the guys you shouldn't be sleeping on. The guys you should be sleeping on are those fringy top 100 guys who could be top 100, but they're gonna, that's their ceiling, right? They're never gonna be better than like pick 100, pick 90, pick 95. Those are the guys you should let go and try to pick someone with some high upside.
Yeah, if someone like Wilson Chandler is on your waiver wire, that's a pretty good sign that there's going to be a couple of other people who probably should be picked up. And Wilson Chandler's going to be perfectly fine.
No doubt about that.
Cool. So I think that's it. Tyler, you got anything else to plug?
No. maybe check out the articles here. We're gonna start writing some articles here for hashtag basketball in the fantasy section. So that I will be. I mean, I won't speak for you. I don't know what you're gonna do, but I will be writing some articles that you can check out. So that'll be something to look forward to. And that's probably about it.
Cool. Yeah. Where can we find you on Twitter?
Oh man, you can find me at Lotsy4444.
Perfect. And you can find me at Watch the Boxes on Twitter. And yeah, we're going to have a few more articles. And we're about ready to start our listener league. If you were looking to get entry into that listener league, I believe it is full, so we can put you on the reserved list. And feel free to tweet at us if you'd like to get on that listener league. Other than that, I think that's it for tonight. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a good one. Cool. I'm just going to keep rolling if we want to do another one. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I muted the thing. I didn't realize it.
Okay, cool. I was just gonna keep this rolling in case we wanted to edit another one.
All right, who we got here?
Want to do cat?
All right, the cat. What do I say? 7th. Oh God, I can't figure out these numbers. I got to write these numbers down. I'm gonna be all confused. Let's see, 7. So what's that? We're doing 12, right? So it's 7.
Yeah, we could do 10. We could do 12.
I don't care. You just got to decide so I know what the numbers are.
Oh my God. Fantasy B-ball is fucking. It's that time of year. Basketball highlights are on TV. It's past week, whatever in the NFL. All the fucking retards are coming out here. Is Miles Turner a top 50 pick this year?
Oh my God. Are you fucking moron? All right, so let me think about this. What the hell pick do you even have in that? 5th? Right? So it's 18. Shit, I hate this. Yeah, 18. God, 12-team leagues are confusing. And then 24. 32. Numbers right? 7, 18, 32, 41, 55, 67.
Say it again.
7, 18, 32, 41, 55, 67. I feel like I'm reading the lotto numbers.
Sounds right.
All right, I'm ready to do this.
Cool. All right, let's see. What am I thinking of? All right, we're doing cat. Gotcha.
Is Miles Turner tough? You should just write that guy back and be like, no, he's not. You should not. You should not do it. You should not pick him ever.
Don't draft him. You know what? I'm going to delete it. I was going to leave it up there to be like, I should flare it and just be like, this is a shit post.
Wait, you get to delete the post if someone posts? That's just D-move, man.
I'm a moderator.
Yeah, but still, you should delete some guy's post. You should tell him, like,
it's a waste of fucking
going in like the 3rd round.
It's a waste of everybody's fucking time. I'll leave it out there. No, I delete stuff like, hey, we're looking for 2 more people in a 12-man $50 league. It's like, this is not a fucking find my league forum. Like, go fuck off.
So I'm gonna post those like 8 a day now, just to fuck with you.
Yeah, please don't. There's enough. There's enough. There's enough where you don't have to.
I'm just gonna start posting all kinds of trash on there.
I really need to quit being a moderator on this site.
Do you like get money for that?
No, absolutely not.
So what the fuck do you do it for?
I started it, so I just continue to do it.
Oh, so it's your baby and you don't want to let it go?
No, it's because we bring people in and they mostly leave every year, and there's like me and 2 other people who actually put enough time and effort in, which is really not that much to give a shit and make it better. And so until I can find like a group of people who are actually gonna fucking take care of the place, like I don't want it to just shit away.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the thing that Yahoo claims fantasy basketball is going to be bigger than fantasy football this year?
I'm sure they hope so. It's not going to.
I don't think so either, but that's what they claimed. I was like, no fucking way.
No, that's not going to happen. All right, Cat Daddy, let's do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Watching the Boxes Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Mike Catron, and joining me occasionally is Tyler Watts. What's up, Tyler?
Not much, Mike. How are you, man?
Is that a better intro since I left you out of one of the episodes for my afternoon mock draft?
I mean, it's more accurate. I don't know that it's better, but it is more accurate. It's more factually correct.
Fair, and that is what we are going for on the Watching the Boxes podcast, is factually correct speculation on where people are going to be drafting and who they're going to be drafting with. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here today.
No doubt about that.
So we've already done half. Is this the fourth one?
Oh, man, don't ask the hard questions.
How about this? You go out there, you tweet at us, and let us know which one this is. But we've already done who do you draft with? Westbrook,
Giannis,
KD, and Giannis. So this is the fourth one. We're at the halfway point.
Yes, we are. We have Davis, Curry, Harden, and Kawhi Leonard to come.
Ooh. And so we are doing the consensus top 8. We believe that top 8 is still intact. And we're doing just a quick mock who do you draft for the first 6 rounds for those players. So if you like that idea and you're looking at a very specific person to draft, go back, listen to the other ones, or see what directions we headed in. If you're looking for a mock draft, I actually did one of those for a 10-team head-to-head league on Yahoo not too long ago, and probably one of our couple of our best podcasts. We had Alex Reichlin of RotoWire, and he's also written for a handful of other places. He came in and talked about auction strategy versus snake draft strategy. I think that was a pretty good one.
That was our second best episode ever.
Ooh, don't tell Alex that. He might think it's the best episode ever.
Wow, I'm sorry, but he got trumped by the episode I'm assuming you're going to mention next.
Oh, yeah. The projections that we did with Mark Roberts, which you can find on #basketball.com right now, which are currently being updated based on breaking information. So Niko Mirotic got signed, a handful of days ago, and the projections on hashtag were updated pretty quickly afterwards.
They are almost up to the minute. I mean, it is crazy how quickly things move in this space age.
It's got to, because the NBA is here. Preseason is being played right now, and a lot of the rotation information that we're looking for will be coming out over the next week or so. And Mark's going to be on top of that, but he explains basically how to use his projections as a baseline to figure out, what's to be expected this year. He really stands by the fact that they're not true hard rankings that you should stick to 100% next guy versus next guy, but they are projections on what will probably happen. And you should base your breakout guys and your slump guys on those projections and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, he said so many smart things that I'm not even going to try to.
No, let's not try to be as smart as Mark Roberts, and let's just do the best we can to draft for the one, the only, the Cat Daddy himself, Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves, a very trendy pick.
Does he lead the league in minutes this year?
Ooh, great question. If it's not him, it's Jimmy Butler.
That's probably the crazy part, right? Is he's battling his teammates for that title.
Yeah, someone needs to go talk to Tibbs because, like, I do not want to see a 28-year-old Karl Anthony Towns who can't walk. So can Tibbs just kind of like play him 32 minutes a game? Would that be cool?
That's not the Tibbs way, bro.
Certainly is not. His Cat's poor knees. I swear, if I see Cat get injured this year, I'm blaming Thibodeau.
You're gonna storm the bench when they come to Chicago and have a word with Tibbs.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll definitely have some words with Tibbs when he comes to Chicago. I'll definitely be going to that game, the Jimmy Butler reunion game. I think you're gonna. I think Jimmy Butler's gonna get a way better reception than Derrick Rose did, and Derrick Rose did not deserve a bad reception. He was traded. It didn't make any sense to me.
You had to fit your Derrick Rose talk in, didn't you?
Listen, Derrick Rose is.
Hey, he's probably going to be a starter for the Cavs. I'm sure you're happy about that.
He's going to be starting for a team that will probably go to the finals, and I wish him the best, but not LeBron. It's a very complicated season I'm going to be living in here in the Eastern Conference.
It's a very complicated world, Mike.
It certainly is. So let's get started. We've been kind of just randomly guessing based on
I don't think
intelligently analyzing. We shouldn't probably say randomly guessing, right?
I don't think there's anything random about what we've been doing.
You're right. We are using our expertise in the field of fantasy basketball to properly assess the highest probability of where these top 8 players will go. Does that sound better?
That sounded way too smart. That sounded like a Mark Roberts sentence right there.
That did sound very. I said we should try to be more like Mark Roberts, and I'm working on it. So, the Cat Daddy, in fact, is falling further in drafts than I expected. His consensus overall pick here, and I think it's pretty skewed by a lot of people picking LeBron who don't know any better. Way too high. But you're seeing Karl Anthony Towns being picked at the bottom part of this top 8.
Yes, if you look at these great Fantasy Pros ADP where they average Yahoo, ESPN, and CBS, he is going 8th overall, which surprises me.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to throw out a little respect instead of hate. Actually, it's a little bit of both, so it's not that rare of an occurrence. I'm going to get everybody in this one, but if you look at where LeBron's average is the 6th pick, which is kind of ridiculous. But if you look at why that is, in Yahoo he's the 9th pick, which okay, that makes sense. In ESPN he's the 5th pick. I don't know why. And in CBS, oh boy, he is the 4th overall pick. And I stop doing that. Stop picking him 4th, CBS people.
I'm joining CBS because they've got my number 1 overall pick at 8th, and I am gonna be picking 8th on CBS. Just
wow,
enjoying my number 1 overall player.
Snagging Steph Curry at the 8th pick would be a wonderful. But I've seen people, a handful of people who actually have gotten someone like Karl Anthony Towns or even Steph Curry or Anthony Davis at 8 or later, and that just baffles me.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, right? That we are pretty set on the consensus top 8, and if you're picking anybody else in that top 8, I think you might be doing it wrong.
I 100% guarantee. And we talk about a second tier and a third tier. And today, last episode we did Kevin Durant. We took him at the number 1 overall pick, which is where I'm taking Kevin Durant in most leagues, especially Roto. In this go around, we actually get to play with the bottom half of the first round, and we're gonna go and take Karl Anthony Towns at pick number 7. We're gonna do the hypothetical that Karl Anthony Towns fell to us at number 7, which is not really out of the question.
And I love it, and you're gonna find out why in about 30 seconds.
Well, let's not even wait that long, and let's get right down to the second round. We are going to be picking at the 18th spot. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, we are. And we are going to get a great player, one of my favorites. I guarantee it.
And that is the difference between picking number 1 and picking number 7 or 8. And then we're doing a 12-team draft here, but if you were doing a 10-team draft, you're even sitting prettier. you're going to probably get one of those second tier players. And that's why I'm telling everybody, if you have a choice where you get to draft in the first round, take the 7th or 8th pick. If you don't want to just leave it up to pure chance, take the 7th pick. So you get to pick between 2 people, and you probably get one of those top 7, because a lot of people are putting Kawhi at number 8. And with his early preseason injury that's a little bit suspect, I think he's going to be taking 8 a lot more often now.
Well, and you might even get 3, right? If LeBron sneaks up there from people, you might even get your choice of 3 guys there.
And yeah, if someone is playing on CBS and you get LeBron James up there, and then someone who's like, oh, I know more than all you people. I read fantasy made-up magazine.com. And
hey, I read that. Don't make fun of it.
It's a good magazine. But they got fantasy made-up magazine.com has Nikola Jokic at like number 2. So that's
number 2.5.
Yeah. So if LeBron and Jokic goes ahead of you, you could legitimately get the number 1 player in the draft at pick 8, pick 9,
pick 10 even. I mean, there's some takes all kinds, my friend.
It's a wild world out there. But we are picking at number 18 here in the second round, right in the smack dab middle of the second round. And there's still the ability that a tier 2 player will fall to you, someone like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Chris Paul, and Jokic. So one of those guys could possibly fall to you.
The way I'm looking at it, okay, it's probably your choice between, and it's probably not your choice. They're probably all getting picked. It's probably who's left between Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. Probably one of those 3 is going to be available, I'm thinking, at pick 18.
If you want to venture out, Draymond will probably be available. Kristaps and Miles Turner will be available. But I'm looking at the people that you're talking about. I'm looking at that top of the 3rd tier, bottom of the 2nd tier, however you want to look at it. Dame Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Paul George.
So, I mean, you might not get a choice here, right? It might just be who falls to you. If we're saying that all 3 are potentially available and who we want, I mean, we can answer that question, or we can rank those based on our Karl-Anthony Towns pick, if you'd like to do that. But I think it's probably more just which one of them falls in your lap.
I agree. Let's say, hey, whoever falls in your lap. But for the fact that we need to take a pick here, let's say they're all available. Which one would you want the most?
That's Jimmy Buckets.
Ooh.
I have Jimmy Buckets.
It's Jimmy G Buckets. The G stands for guts.
I have Butler stretching right up there by my top 10, especially in head-to-head leagues.
Don't even say into head-to-head leagues. Say in all leagues, because in roto leagues, Jimmy Butler is a fantastic player as well. He really does everything, shoots really good percentages, gets you an incredibly high volume of free throws at a good clip. He is going to handle the ball pretty well. He's going to get you elite assists. So you're going to see assists or not elite assists. He gets elite steals, and he's going to get you higher assists for his position than a normal, I guess, 2-3 kind of guard would a 2 guard would actually get you. He's also a good rebounder.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, those are 2 Minnesota players. Do you want 2 Minnesota players on your team?
And that's the weird part about it, but I don't really care. I want the best guy available in that second round. The first 2 rounds, I definitely want the best guy available. If he's available, I'm taking him. I think he's going to be the best guy available.
Well, let me try to shoot a hole in your idea here. Jimmy Butler probably is the weakest by a lot of those 3 in 3-pointers. Are you wanting to get a 3-point shooter to round out Karl-Anthony Towns, who might score 1 a game, which is crazy for a center, but his strength is Karl-Anthony Towns' strength is rebounding. Wouldn't you rather have Damian Lillard, who's going to score more, get more 3-pointers, who's still not really bad at rebounding, but better at assists?
I hear that, and he would actually probably be my number 2 over Paul George in this particular scenario. I really just want Jimmy Butler because I think he's a better player. I think he's going to help my percentages a little bit more, which I'm probably going to care about if I pick Karl-Anthony Towns, who is literally one of, if not the best percentage player in basketball. So I don't really love Lillard's probably 40 to 43% that he's going to shoot, probably more like 42, 43 from the field. Obviously, he's going to shoot great from the free throw line, so you don't have to worry about that. I feel a little bit safer with Jimmy Butler, but I can hear. I mean, all these guys are great players. Let's not sugarcoat it.
You're 100% right. I'm not sure you can go wrong here with those three players. So, go whatever direction you want. I like going with Jimmy Butler. I'm going to jump on board with you. It's not very hard for me to get behind Bulls legend Jimmy Butler. And I like him in a roto league. So, in the KD draft, we kind of mentioned that he's a good roto build. In Karl-Anthony Towns, also a great roto build. And following him with Jimmy Butler is pretty nice. I really like taking him there, and I like him for a roto build. So let's go on to the third round. And we are going to be picking the 32 in the third round. And let's see who's available down here. I'm gonna go ahead and say because we always pick Miles Turner. Miles Turner is not available here.
I don't think Miles Turner will be, and especially if you're on Yahoo. Now, maybe if you're on CBS, he's 44th, so that's kind of dragging his number down.
CBS they should weight these scores, and CBS should be just like the smallest weight,
I think I might have to write in and ask CBS if they're looking for some help.
Yeah, we should be doing the CBS. If CBS Sports, if you would like to sponsor this podcast, feel free to contact us at Watch the Boxes on Twitter or watch the boxes at Yahoo or at gmail.com.
So here's who I'm kind of thinking is available. Okay. You probably have Bradley Beal. You probably have Eric Bledsoe.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have Marc Gasol. You probably have guys like Blake Griffin, Chris Middleton, Kevin Love, Paul Millsap. So what are you looking for? What are you looking for right now? If we got Jimmy Butler and we got Towns, what are we looking for?
So when I hear that list that you just gave me, you gave me no elite or super exciting point guards. I am actually on Eric Bledsoe. I like Eric Bledsoe this year. But for this build, I don't know. Eric Bledsoe could fit this build. His field goal percentage isn't great, which is what we're trying to avoid somewhat. But when you look at what Butler does and you look what Karl-Anthony Towns does and you combine them together, right? What we're probably weakest in right now is three-pointers. We're not bad at three-pointers by any means. We're probably weakest at three-pointers and assists. So really, I think that's what we should be looking for. And actually, I'll take it back. I think Eric Bledsoe does fit this build.
I don't hate it.
If you want to round out those numbers. If you want to start ignoring those numbers with your third pick and take someone, like you mentioned, like a Middleton or a Bradley Beal to get those threes and just bump your threes up even further.
That I would probably, if it was my sole decision, I would probably go for Chris Middleton. Just love Middleton. Think he's going to take a little bit of a step forward in his scoring this year. Just really love Chris Middleton.
He's another all-around type player. He's going to shoot solid percentages, so we're not killing our percentages once again. His blocks are pretty non-existent, but we do have Karl-Anthony Towns who kind of makes up for that, but he's not. Karl-Anthony Towns is not an elite blocker. He's a very great blocker, but he's not elite by any means. But with Middleton, you're getting a incredibly high steal rate, assists and rebounds that are above average for his position, scoring and three-point shooting. Let me do a quick who would you rather here. Would you rather go Kevin Love, who's going to give you elite rebounds, incredible threes for a center? So we're doubling up on our rebound stats. His blocks are going to be crap, and his field goal percentage isn't going to be terribly good either. But you're strengthening what you're already pretty good at, which is rebounds and three-pointers. And he's going to probably get a bigger role in the first half of the season with Isaiah Thomas out.
Yeah, and they're going to play him at the center, it sounds like, at least a little bit more. And it's always interesting to me to see if that gets him a few more rebounds. I mean, you can remember those years in Minnesota when he rebounded pretty much everything under the sun, it seemed like. Kevin Love's a guy I don't often think about in this range too much, in the sense that I'm not a huge Kevin Love backer because I don't like it that he doesn't steal or block the ball too much. But I could see how he could fit this build. I'm still probably going Middleton, though.
I think that's fair. If Joel Embiid is here, I know you're not interested in Joel Embiid. Would you consider him here? Or not for this build? And I think I'm leaning not for this build.
Mike, what's my rule?
You're never going to draft Joel Embiid until the 4th round because you want 3 great players to start your team with.
Yes, sir. So what round is this?
Ooh, let me go do the math. It looks like it's the 3rd round.
So I don't think I'm interested in Joel Embiid. Sorry.
Oof, man. I'm trying to get you to buy Joel Embiid. I don't think you're ever going to.
I'll buy a lot of things, but not Joel Embiid in the first 3 rounds.
You just do not trust the process, my friend. I'm not going to argue with Chris Middleton. I don't think we've taken Chris Middleton in one of our drafts here. Like I said, I'm looking around here, and I don't love any of the guards here, and we kind of need a guard. I will make a quick argument for Eric Bledsoe. He's going to score. He's going to give you good assists. He's going to help you in steals. He's going to shoot a bad field goal percentage, but I think we can absorb his field goal percentage. I'm going to make a quick ploy for Eric Bledsoe here, but I'll let you have the final opinion between those two.
I'm a fan. I'm leaning Middleton. The Suns with that shutdown last year, and I don't think they're going to be any better. I'm just worried in a head-to-head league that he may not be there when you need him the most, which keeps me off him in a head-to-head. And Roto, I'd be more inclined to back you on Bledsoe, but in the head-to-head, I'm going to have to go for Middleton.
All right, let's go Middleton. I like that pick. We have 2 20-plus scorers. No one in the upper 20s, though. And now we're putting in Middleton, who's going to probably score somewhere in the upper teens. He's going to hit good 3-pointers, so I think we're sitting pretty good at 3-pointers. He's a good rebounds and assists guy, so we're really not punting rebounds and assists. We just only have one. We have one elite rebounder, so we're definitely not punting rebounds. We're doing pretty good in rebounds because these two complement. I think a lot of people take a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, and then they'll end up getting a guy like, let's say, all these guys hit good rebounds. Good for them. You'll get Mike Conley, who gets about 4 rebounds a game, and then all of a sudden you'll get Isaiah Thomas, or you'll get a guy who gets like 2 rebounds a game, right? And they're like, oh, I got an elite rebound guy. I can go all guys who don't get 2, I don't have to pay attention to rebounds. Well, you kind of do. Just because you have one elite rebound guy doesn't mean you shouldn't be looking for guards that get close to 4 to 5 rebounds a game.
Well, and it's the second biggest stat too. So obviously the difference between 1 and 7 is a lot bigger than the difference between a half and 1. So obviously those guys who really are bad at it, getting 2, 2.5, 3, they're hurting your team a little bit more. And there's guys out there getting 10 and 12.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And the same thing goes for assists. Oh, I got Chris Paul. I don't have to pay attention to assists anymore. Well, if you end up with a center like Hassan Whiteside who doesn't get hardly any assists, and then you end up with a guard
and
like
here's how I like to
Bradley
look at
Beal.
that. Okay, if I get Whiteside and Paul, isn't that just like having 2 guys who average 5 assists a game?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So, I mean, that's kind of how you can look at it, right? So then if you get another guy who's going to average 2 assists a game, your assist average is dropping in a hurry, right? And you need an assist guy to get that average back up.
That is probably the best way to look at it. You should be throwing your guys in a quick spreadsheet if you can, or using whatever methods that are out there on the internet to track your draft. And if I'm just doing the eye test on our draft, though, our two weakest statistics are blocks and assists. And our assists aren't really that bad. And I would say our best statistics are free throw percentage and steals.
Yeah, we're definitely pretty good in the defensive categories. So the question is, what do we punt now? And to me, it's probably blocks. Because I'm not seeing a ton of guys who block a shot here unless we want to dive down and get one of the definitely going to have to punt your free throws type players, which I don't really want to do here.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either because I don't want to waste Karl-Anthony Towns' free throw percentage or his ability to score and get rebounds and do everything else. I don't want to get a guy who's just going to destroy you in like two categories.
And so here's what I'll
get 0 steals.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say about this. When I say we're punting, that just means I'm not looking at that category anymore. I'm not factoring it in my decision to pick. That doesn't mean I won't pick someone like Clint Capella, maybe. I mean, someone who blocks shots, right? That doesn't mean I'm completely knocking them off my board. I'm just saying I'm not caring about that category. I'm looking at your other 7 categories now.
Yeah, let's say you're playing on CBS and Clint Capella is going at 101. Well, I might be ignoring blocks, but at pick 100, I'm taking Clint Capella, 100%.
Yeah, and I'll second that. Right, so you can ignore the category and still take someone who's good in that category. Don't mistake it for me saying, okay, Serge Ibaka blocks 2 shots. No way I'm ever drafting him, no matter how far he falls.
Exactly, and I think you're right that since we're weakest in blocks. And we have 2 forwards and a center. We don't really. I mean, granted, the nice thing about Butler and Middleton is they can play guard and center. They're both eligible for those things. You can move them around a lot. They're super versatile, and that's going to help you in a streaming head-to-head league. And also, it helps you with the rest of your draft. You can kind of go in a different direction. You can go a little bit more forward heavy and keep building up on those stats, or you can go guard heavy and move those guys to forward. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as you're building around what your strengths are. And since we don't really have any true point guards, I think we are probably going to be looking for a point guard at pick 41 in the 4th round.
Yeah, so I mean, here we got a lot of options, and it's a lot of the names we've been talking about. 41 gives us the shot at Devin Booker. That's the one name we haven't talked about too much, but the other, real true point guard types around are looking like Dennis Schroeder, maybe Goran Dragic, Jeff Teague probably. Ricky Rubio is probably still available. D'Angelo Russell. I mean, all these names that we've been kind of going back and forth with pretty much in every one of our who would you rather draft type deals.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a terrible surprise that we're looking at the same people in the 4th and 5th round, because in the 4th and 5th round, there's just really only a certain amount of guys that we like. And you're either going for bigs at this point or guards at this point. So you're not looking at both. You're just looking at one or the other.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'll throw this one up to you. Who do you think should be our guard here at pick 41?
This is interesting. We're obviously not interested in blocks. We want to have good percentages. So that almost dissuades me from someone like Dennis Schroeder, who's going to shoot at high volume at a low percentage for field goal.
And that probably kicks off Ricky Rubio in the sense that maybe it's not going to be a huge volume, but it's going to be a bad field goal percentage probably. So you're probably not super interested in him either.
And I'm also not interested in him because of I don't think we're super strong on points. We're pretty good at points, but we're not super strong. And I kind of want to go a little bit higher on a points guy here. That's a tough one, I think, because we could go.
And that was why I threw out the name Devin Booker, right?
Yeah, we could go Devin Booker here. Though, don't you think this is terribly high for Devin Booker?
It's a reach, but this is the thing. If you want Devin Booker, you're going to have to pick him here.
I think you're right. You're 100% right.
So, I mean, you hear the stories that he's going to handle the ball a little bit more this year and that he may get a few more assists. It wouldn't surprise me. The kid's 21 years old. He could easily average like 22 points a game. And if Eric Bledsoe gets hurt, I mean, he might average 25 points a game. and that would definitely make him worth this pick. I think that with this pick, he's got to take a step forward. He can't be what he was last year, and you get good value with this pick. That worries me a little bit. But if we're going to bet on someone to take a step forward, why would it not be a 21-year-old kid?
Especially one who you've seen score in bunches and have that 70-point game.
Yeah,
which is absurd. So if you're good at reach for Devin Booker, you really want Devin Booker, this is the time to do it. Because I do not think he's falling to at pick 55 in the next round. That said, if we went Devin Booker, we would boost our points a ton. Our threes would be rock solid. But what Devin Booker doesn't do is any of the counting stats, which we are okay at steals. He's also going to shoot at volume at a low field goal percentage, so that could hurt us in field goal percentage a little bit. And he's not really going to give us the assists that we're looking for as well.
Yeah, and that's why the guy that you threw out early was probably maybe the guy I would take, and since it would be Dennis Schroeder, just because I think we need points and we need assists, and those are the two categories he's going to give us.
Yeah,
in abundance.
Now that I'm looking around, so there's no perfect candidate here. There never is going to be a perfect candidate in the fourth round. Dennis Schroeder's looking better when I compare him to someone like Devin Booker. They're going to be similar. But I'm going to throw out a name that I don't think we've thrown out at all. And that's to seriously consider picking up. And that's Goran Dragic.
Were you not listening when I was talking?
You threw him out there just like a minute ago, but we've never thrown him out in any other who would you draft segment.
And here's maybe why is on Yahoo he's going 37th. So he's getting picked in a range we haven't really picked yet. On other sites he's going later, ESPN 47, CBS 50. I think he's probably more in that range. I think Yahoo maybe has him a little bit overpriced. But I love Goran Dragic. I think he's easily a top 50 player. I think he's probably, though, in that back part of the top 50 and not necessarily like in the top 30.
Yeah, that's the thing about him is like I think you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy who's going to finish in that 40 to 50 range, and he's going to be good. He's going to have a good field goal percentage, which I really like. His free throw percentage isn't as great as I want it to be, but I think we can handle it.
That's what we should have named this podcast. Not as great as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's not this draft is not as great as I wanted it to be, but you're gonna get steals. So we're just bunching up on our steals. We're just shoving more steals, and we're gonna dominate steals pretty much. And then you're gonna get solid threes, good assists, adequate rebounds for a point guard, but someone who last year scored 20 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I just don't know if it's Yahoo he's going to be around. But yeah, I mean, I'd love that pick if he's there.
Okay, let's do a quick who would you rather? Dragic or Jeff Teague?
Jeff Teague.
Ooh.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Jeff Teague, so you
certainly do. Dragic or Drew Holiday?
You know the answer to that one too. It's definitely Dragic.
You hate Drew Holiday, and
I've seen what happens.
Dragic. No, go ahead.
I've seen what happens to Rudy Gay and his ball handling ability when Rajon Rondo comes to town. I'm very scared of what happens to Drew Holiday's.
I'm really scared. Yeah, I'm not scared of Boogie and AD because they're gonna get theirs, but
yeah,
everybody else. Rondo is going to suck the life out of them, and it's probably going to piss off. I mean, Boogie cannot be happy being back with Rajon Rondo, right?
No, they're mates, man. They're buddies, apparently. Which I did.
I think.
What surprises me, those guys are homies. I think.
Listen, I've everything I heard about Rajon Rondo in Chicago is that he was a great locker room presence for everyone not named Dwayne Wade or Jimmy Butler.
I mean, I believe that.
Quite frankly, Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade were probably acting a little too hot for their shit.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, considering they barely made the playoffs, probably acting a little too cool for school.
Yeah, no, probably. Rondo, man, just a divisive player, I guess.
Oh yeah, He's always going to be, and what really matters is what's going to be happening on the court. So, we got to pick somebody here. Dennis Schroeder or Goran Dragic?
It's Schroeder for me. It's really the pick for me would come down between Teague and Schroeder. And I just think Schroeder fits the bill a little bit better. So, plus I don't really want 3 Minnesota guys.
Fair. Let's go with Dennis Schroeder. I think Goran Dragic is still someone worth noting in this position, but we had to go guard because we needed a guard. And now we got Dennis Schroeder, who's going to boost our points, who's going to help our three-pointers a lot, who's going to boost back our assists back up to a respectable rate. He's getting one assist or one steal a game, and that helps. We're already killing in steals. Getting a guy who's going to get a steal a game is definitely going to help. What you do notice is that his field goal percentage is going to bring us down a little bit, but I think we're doing really well in field goal percentage, or at least better than people who aren't just stacking up DeAndre Jordan and Andre Drummond and just going, I'm just going to punt free throws again this year and get all the centers with their third, fourth, and fifth round picks and ignore. I love it because I'm just going to go DeAndre in my third, Drummond in the fourth, Howard in the fifth, and it's do you guys know you're going to miss out on basically every single wing and guard in the entire draft? Oh, you don't care? Okay, fine. Yeah, win blocks and rebounds by 1 billion. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, and there's a huge trade-off, right? Because you're going to dominate in 2 categories, but you're going to be horrendous in 1. So you're going to be the worst team in the league, not be anybody if we're talking head-to-head. You're not going to be anybody probably any week ever in free throw percentage, but you're going to dominate 2 categories.
And maybe 3. Field goal percentage will probably be pretty good as well.
Yeah, but it all depends on the pairings too. If you get a bunch of guys in those early rounds, now there's not that many guys in the early rounds who shoot terrible percentages. But if you get some chuckers late on, you can drop that field goal percentage because those guys don't take a ton of attempts.
Yeah, they don't shoot at volume, but if you go back to back to back like that, I think someone took Gobert and Drummond and DeAndre and Dwight Howard in the first 6 rounds.
That just I don't follow that strategy.
And it's just you're wasting a couple picks because you're going to miss out on guys who hit 3-pointers.
Yeah, you're going to be horrendous in 3-pointers too. There's no way unless you have Curry and Thompson in that build, there's no way you're going to be good enough in 3-pointers to compete.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I understand that their values are really high, but guess what? They're only high to you because everyone else isn't punting free throws.
But I will say this, right? Okay, if you're in one of those leagues where there's not that many categories, right? You only got to win the week in head-to-head. So if there's a 9-category league and you win 5-4 every week,
great,
you win a championship.
Yeah, but you better be domination in 5 categories, not 3 categories.
Yeah, you can't afford to lose any of those 5 categories though any week. If you're only going to concentrate on 5 categories, you have to win. You have to be the best team in the league in those 5 categories.
Yep. 100%.
And if you can do that, great. But that's really hard to do with that build.
It's incredibly delicate balance because if you go up against someone who just happens to be better at one of those categories, who also is dominant in one of those categories, or heaven forbid 2 of those categories, then you're automatically losing your 4.
Right, and you don't have enough points there. You don't have enough. You don't have hardly any assists.
Yeah,
you don't
your
have
steals probably aren't great.
Right, and you have 0 free throws and 0 3-pointers. So really, it's trading 2. It's being awesome in 3 categories and being horrendous in 2, and struggling in a few others. And that's just not a strategy I'd go for.
I'm with you right there. It's too aggressive. I get going with the punt free throw strategy and taking someone like Drummond or DeAndre or Whiteside and just being screw it, I'm punting, I'm going in this direction. Do it, but don't ignore everything else. Don't just only pick those guys. It's insane.
I'm with you.
So we are at pick 55 in the middle of the 5th round. Once again, we took Dennis Schroeder with our 4th pick. Right now we got 2 guys who can play guard, center, Schroeder at point guard. We could probably beef up really any position at this point here with our 5th in our 6th round picks. Let's see who's available.
This might be the spot where I venture out and pick someone I haven't picked yet. So this could be interesting.
This could be fun. So I think someone like Otto Porter's probably going to be gone.
Second.
I think you'll see guys around here. You possibly could see Al Horford. You'll definitely see LaMarcus Aldridge, I think. Vujovic is a guy who's going to – we're basically punting blocks. We're ignoring blocks. So Vujovic becomes a little bit more interesting at this.
His 1 block a game is underrated. I'll say that. I still think his getting it up to that 1 block that he's got in the last couple of years has been big.
Oh, it's definitely helped him as a all-around fantasy player. That's for sure. And who cares if you end up being, next to last or fourth to last in blocks? That's great. You might win a few weeks.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody, right? I mean, you might win. Being 4th to last in a 12-team league, you might win that category 4 or 5 times, maybe 6 or 7, depending on which teams you play, and that's big.
It's huge. Who?
So other guys available. Probably Ben Simmons might be available. That's a guy we haven't really talked too much about.
No, we have not.
So you mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge, Victor Oladipo, probably D'Angelo Russell, Vucevic, Harrison Barnes. There's a name we haven't discussed.
Oh, that is an interesting name. We do shy away from him. We do think he's a little overrated, but
so yeah. Consider. What do we really need here? We can kind of go anywhere, right?
Yeah, we really can. And I'm actually leaning a little bit towards a big, even though like Butler and Middleton get good rebounds and assists for there being a wing, but I'm leaning towards a big simply because we just went with a guard. I think there's going to be a couple guards that we can get a little bit later, and this might be our last chance to get one of the mid-tier bigs.
I'm with you on that. So my man, if it's between Vucevic and Aldridge, which look like the two probably names, unless Horford's around, which I don't think he will be. So who are you going with there? I'll tell you who I'm going with. But
I think if you get Horford in there now I'm interested in Horford, and the reason I'm interested in him is because he has just an all-around 9-cat game. When we're talking about roto leagues, I just really like him across the board there.
I will second that, but I don't think he's going to be available. So it's probably just Aldridge and Vucevic.
Oh, you are probably right. Man, LaMarcus Aldridge is a weird pick, right?
You should just go up to him at the game and say, "You're weird, bro. You are just weird.
You're a weird dude." Obviously, he's going to play a decent amount, even though he's in Pop's system. I don't see them really going any other direction in that spot. He's going to score a bit, get you some rebounds, good percentages. Doesn't hurt you really anywhere. His assists are a little low, but between him and Vujovic, they're both low assists. Man, it's a tough choice. I think I would go Vujovic because he gets elite rebounds. We already have an elite rebound guy, and now we're just doubling up.
You say I will second it. And that was the exact reason. I want the extra rebounds and probably extra assist. Plus, I think Vujovic could take a step back up and score right around the LaMarcus Aldridge level of points this year.
Yeah, and I'm not selling short on LaMarcus having a little bit of a bounce back this year, but with Vujovic's bounce back would just come because he plays a little bit more. And if he plays a little bit more, now you're looking at a guy who could really put some elite rebounds out every single night.
Well, and Vujovic's points were down last year mostly because he shot a bad percentage, which I don't think that's necessarily sustainable. I think that might have been an outlier if you look the rest of his career. And so I think that even in the same minutes as last year, he could see a bounce back in his points just by shooting a little bit better from the field.
It could definitely happen. I don't see it being out of the question. So it's in the probability ranking.
He shot over 50% for 4 straight seasons, and then last year was 46.8. Now he did take some more threes, right? He shot 1 3 a game, and he only shot 30%. So that partially boosted it down. But even his 2-point percentage every year over 50%. Last year 48.1. I think you see that number get probably back over 50 with that 2-point percentage, And he also shot a bad free throw percentage last year. So those numbers kind of bounce back a little bit, and he shoots 49% from the field. He shoots over 50% from 2-point range. He shoots his usual, kind of 72, 73, 75 from the free throw line. You're talking 17, 18 points, which is probably where LaMarcus Aldridge is.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's do Vujovic. I like that pick. LaMarcus isn't bad, right? But I think Vujovic fits a little bit better here. Now we're sitting pretty good in rebounds. We're still good at points as well. We could probably use a few more threes. Our steals are very good. We're ignoring blocks, and our percentages are still very good.
And we are on to our final pick. The last one.
The very last one. At 67, a pick we don't normally get to pick at as well. And I'm just going to list off some names that are going to be available here. Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, Danilo Gallinari, Tobias Harris, Trevor Ariza, Robert Covington, Avery Bradley. But those are names we haven't really talked about in the past. And then you got your usual suspects of Jonas Valanciunas, Gary Harris, Gordon Hayward, the guys that we like to pick late, Nerlens Noel, Jeremy Lin's probably still hanging around. All the guys that we always like to sneak up from the bottom of the depths of Yahoo.
I'll mention a like for Elfrid Payton in this spot. He's going to shoot a bad free throw percentage, but he doesn't shoot that many. He shot over 50% from the field last year, which is sexy, right? He's going to get some good points.
He's only 23. He's going to be 24. If he's ever going to do something, it's got to be soon.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. The dude, that was the second half of the season, he shot over 50%. But he shot over 50% on 2-pointers, 47.1% from the field. You got to like that. Guard, 6.5 assists seem pretty safe.
Great rebounder for a point guard.
Yep. Probably some all right steals, not great. Maybe half a block, which you got last year, which looks sexy for a guard. I mean,
his threes are weak, and we are probably a little weak in threes.
Yeah, but I mean, look how many specialists. There's always threes, especially in a head-to-head. You could even stream some threes on the waiver wire to beat some of those bottom half teams.
And I'm going to jump on board with you there. You're 100% right. Jamal Murray's, Nico Mirotich's, all these dudes hanging out in the bottom of the draft. Tim Hardaway is probably hanging out way down there.
Seth Curry's probably going to get you 2 threes a game. He might be even on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I mean, Hield's going to be down there. JJ Redick is hanging out way at the bottom of these lists.
Right.
The threes are going to be there, right? But at what point in the draft are you going to find a point guard who shoots at a high percentage, which will help your percentages which is exactly what you're looking for, and give you high rebounds and high assists any later in this draft?
It's probably not coming back around, my friend.
I think you're 100% right, and I think we should go. This is the first time we've gone with some of these players. Elfrid Payton at 67.
And the reason for that is it wasn't that we all of a sudden started liking these players. I mean, don't get that confused. It was that we're in a little bit later spot, so we got the advantage of getting some players we didn't normally see. And I just think that there were some players that had a little bit more value that we were just missing out on because we were picking those turns.
You're 100% right, and that is the value of picking later in the draft. So when we went with Kevin Durant, we were picking at 12 and 13, and then there was a ton of picks, almost 24 picks. If you want to do the math, it's probably less. But we're jumping over a ton of people who are going off the board. Here, you're picking at a good clip, and while you're not picking back to back, you're venturing into that tier 2 with Jimmy Butler. You're getting a tier 3 guy, a potential tier 3 guy with Chris Middleton. Dennis Schroeder's still around, which is probably not going to happen unless you reach for someone like Dennis Schroeder if you're picking with the number 1 pick. So, like I said, if you can get the 7th or 8th pick, if you get to choose, I would take that so you can get better players with your 3rd, 5th, 6th round picks.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Beautiful. So that is Karl-Anthony Towns. We took Butler at 2 and Middleton at 3, Schroeder at 4, Vujovic at 5, and hopefully the breakout candidate, Elfrid Payton, at 6. That's a good looking team.
That is not too bad, my friend.
Yeah, I like that. A lot of wing players. We're not super strong in point guards, but we kind of don't care. Some of our forwards are making up for that in certain ways. We probably could use a little bit more assists and threes, but we could find threes later in the draft, and maybe you pick up one of our players who is not under the radar anymore, Milos Teodosic, later in the round with his performance. He's going to be on a lot of radars here by the end of the week.
Yeah.
100%. So I think that's it for us. Tyler, you got anything to plug?
No, not really.
Where,
Check me out on Twitter at
yeah.
Watsy4444.
Yeah, that is 4 4s for 4 times the amount of fantasy basketball knowledge than anyone else.
I was gonna say it was 4,000 times, but who knows?
Well, no, I'm not gonna. It's not gonna exponential it. I'm not gonna take 4 times 4 times 4.
Oh wow!
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing it.
It's just so late. It's way too much work.
Yeah, I'm not in the. It's too late for math. And you can find me, Mike Catron, at Watch the Boxes on Twitter as well. Feel free to tweet at us. Our listener league is full, but you know people drop out randomly. So if you want to get on that waiting list, feel free to tweet at either one of us or tweet at #basketball, which is the official Twitter for #basketball.com, the sponsor of the show and the location of Mark Roberts' projections that we continue to tout because they are incredibly good and what I will be basing my rankings on, like I have in the years past when I've had to actually go search them out and find them on the dark web. So yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining us and have a good one.